Welcome to Jets Chaos. Zach Wilson is inconsistent in OTAs. Oh no, he must be a bust. What else are they saying about these players at OTAs? That's what we're here to talk about. Right here, right now, with our man with the plan. I've said that a million times, but his name's not Stan. I'm going to be back, and we're going to get to our guy. You know who he is. His name is Dom C, and we'll be right back right after this. I would regret it if people look back at the first episode and you weren't on it.
Yeah, well, I like that. It's called forward thinking.
We have one of the worst beats in the world. We do. Our beat is horrible.
Connor could shove that article up his ass.
And then I went to that game, and I was like, this is the greatest team I've ever seen in my life. I'm a Jet fan. This is going to be the greatest run ever. Yeah.
No, because if they take a Kwanu, I'm not complaining.
Joe Douglas is the king of keeping shit close to the vest.
A 2, a 4, and a 6 for Darnold?
Did the Jets really ruin Sam Darnold, or did Sam Darnold just suck all along and we were just trying to talk ourselves into it?
And Hamilton is a player who can potentially make a very big impact.
And suddenly here we are today. You can't get rid of him.
Right. It's like a plague.
Joe Douglas was hired because he's not those general managers.
Okay, Luscious.
Somebody is going to fall just like Elijah Moore did, just like Michael Carter did.
You know, what would, if you had one sentence to say to Joe Douglas, what would you say? So you would say, you had me at hello, and then give him a big old wet one right on the smack.
All right, and here we go. I want to welcome some people to the stream already. Jets Mess was the first one. What is up, my friend? Barney Miller has a great question. We'll get to that, my friend. Thanks for joining the chat today. We'll definitely address that question. Love the name Barney Miller. We used to watch the show when I was a kid. Jets Fan United. A man I cannot wait to meet. We will definitely meet up someday, my friend. I saw that on Twitter. I was honored to be in your top 5. I promise you we'll meet. Grandizer, what's going on? How you doing? My fellow Ashton Davis fan. Payo Time, my good friend, is here in the house. Russell Scarf, one of my originals, is here. What is going on? Gitmo Bob, it's good to see you, my friend. Iowan Jets fan is here. So what's up, guys? Glad to see everybody. But without further ado, first of all, I want to highlight this question before I bring in my friend, my co-host, Barney Miller, and we'll get you up to date on why did I have that thumbnail? Why did I name the video that? I will get back to you in 2 seconds with that information. But first, let's go to the guy who actually might be able to add some information to that question. He is a good friend of mine. He is growing all over YouTube and all over the websites and fan bases. And one day I wouldn't be surprised if everybody and every Jets fan in New York and all over the world is reading this guy's stuff because he is the best. And I am honored to have him on my channel. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the guy who does all the research, who knows everything about everyone. Doesn't mean he's 100% right, but he's right a lot. And it's because he does the work. He puts in the time. And his name is Dom C.
Hey, these introductions get better and better every week. What's up, Jet? What's up, Jeremy? Welcome back from vacation, pal.
Thank you. It is
Hope
good
you're
to be back.
Yeah, I bet, man. 2 weeks is a long time. 2 weeks is a long time.
And I got to tell you, man, I gained a lot of weight. I am not kidding. I definitely gained some serious weight. What is up, Buffalo Jets fan? What is up, Kevin?
Hey, Kev.
Kevin is one of the reasons. I'm sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to say he's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about this season, because I cannot tell you how excited I am about that panel he's putting together and how excited I am to be part of that panel. That's, to me, I predict, and I really believe that post-Jets game panel on Buffalo Jets fans' YouTube channel is going to be one of the heavily watched, popular channels, and I'm not just talking about right off the bat. I mean, it's going to evolve into something very special over the next few years, and I'm can't wait to be part of it.
Yeah, man. It's going to be good stuff for you guys. For sure.
But how are you doing, Dom C?
I'm well, man. I'm well. I'm grinding over here. Just relaxing. Kind of have quasi day off tomorrow. Playing some golf with some work associates, and hoping for good weather because it's raining up here in the Northeast. And that's it, man. Just finished Little League season. My kid got knocked out of the playoffs last night. Tough game, but good season. Good season. And today was awesome. Today was awesome. Some of the kids had some friends over. I did some prep cooking. I kind of laid in bed and lounged and watched a bunch of Netflix. It was one of those lazy Sundays, man, that you wish for.
I like it. I like
I
it.
loved it. I loved it, man. I loved
That's
it.
nice, man. That's nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So Barney Miller says, is that the same inconsistent report from a couple of weeks ago, or based on four warm-up throws, or has there been new news? It's not really based on anything other than what the Main Street media has been putting out there. Like every once in a while I check and I'm looking at all the different Jets articles, and I noticed a few different articles. One, by some of our friends, the Connor Hughes of the world, that are bringing up questions and saying Zach is not being inconsistent. They're all concerned on Twitter when they're saying, oh, he's missing passes, he's throwing interceptions. And just so you know, Barney, I am not here to sit here and start a panic. As a matter of fact, I'm here to do the opposite. I'm here to dispel that nonsense. And I'll let Dom weigh in. I just want to say one thing about practice, okay? And it's not that I'm saying practice is not important and I'm downplaying practice. I'm not Allen Iverson. What I'm saying when I say practice is just practice is not the game. Practice is whatever you're practicing that day. So Zach Wilson, the reporters are standing on a sideline and these guys are away on the field doing things, right? They're running drills. You don't know what's in Zach Wilson's head. You don't know when he throws an interception. There's a lot of things you don't know. You don't know if he would have thrown that pass in a real game. You don't know if it's his fault because that's why they're practicing. The receiver he was throwing to may have went the wrong way. Zach Wilson may have thrown the ball in the perfect place. And we as fans would never know that because the West Coast scheme is not a wide receiver running one consistent pattern. The pattern adjusts based on the defender. Therefore, the wide receiver and Zach Wilson have to read what the defense is doing at the same exact time and be on the same exact page. So every time a quarterback throws an interception, don't assume it's the quarterback right away. There's just as much chance that the wide receiver broke the wrong way, and Zach Wilson actually made the right decision. What do you think, Dom?
Listen, I think you said it best right in the start. I agree with every sentiment and statement that you just made. Without watching it yourself, you don't know who made. We're reading what DJ Bienme or Connor Hughes or Rich Cimini is writing on Twitter on the whatever station or medium they're using. We're going by what they're saying. We're not seeing it with our own eyes. So you're right. It could have been a million different things that happened. It's not necessarily he's inconsistent because he threw an incomplete pass, but it's practice. An old friend of mine, God rest his soul, this guy named Bob Sullivan. We used to call him the Sainted Bob Sullivan, one of those old guys who just was like a mountain of knowledge in everything, just like one of the smartest guys I ever knew. We got talking about something sports related one day. Somebody used that old adage, practice makes perfect. He's like, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes practice easier. That's all it is. It's repetitions, right? I'd rather him throw 10 interceptions now during practice to, learn or get used to the reps so that when push comes to shove, he knows exactly what to do in the right situation, So I take everything with a grain of salt right now, especially 7-on-7s with no pads and everyone's running a little hot. The offensive line isn't going full force. The defensive line's not going full force. The wide receivers, you don't have the whole team there. Like, let's just slow the roll a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's just get these guys the reps. Let's get them on the field together. Let's build the timing. I'll ask you, Jeremy. I'll point it to you. Would you take 10 interceptions right now from Zach Wilson if it means that he's building the chemistry and knows exactly where Garrett Wilson's going to be, which break he's going to make against defense X on this exact play? You know, he throws 10 interceptions in practice, but when it comes game 1 in Baltimore, he knows that if this is defense we're getting, this is where Garrett Wilson's going to be. That's what we're building. We're building consistency.
100%. That's exactly what we want. We want all the mistakes, all the miscommunications to happen at practice. That's the entire purpose. Okay. It doesn't, it's not, it's like they're acting as though they're playing practice and practicing the actual play. And Zach Wilson is playing that play the actual way he would in a game when maybe him and Garrett Wilson and the coach, the offensive coordinator, LaFleur said, I want you to work on these few plays.
Yeah.
And they've never done it together before. And they're figuring it out and they're feeling each other out. So, I mean, absolutely. And you want those things to happen, because if they didn't practice those plays and make those mistakes, you're right, it's going to happen during a game.
That's right. That's right. You'd rather work through the repetition, get used to it now. That's what practice is. It makes the real thing easier when it comes, comes into play.
Right. And they might figure out, oh, we need to adjust this. We're really struggling with this.
Sure.
We keep screwing this up. Maybe the coaches say, we're not going to run this the first couple of weeks because we're not getting this down yet.
Yep.
I mean, that's the point. That's why you're practicing. So, I mean, look, if he was throwing the ball into the ground and missing targets and doing this and that, you'd wonder a little bit what's going on. But even that, we don't know if he's built up his arm strength yet. I saw him throw a sidearm pass in practice. I
was going to mention that. So I'm sure everyone saw it. It was this good little rollout, flick, sidearm pass. I think it was CJ Uzama who caught it. And I got a couple buddies of mine who are not Jet fans. They're not Jet haters, but they're not Jet fans. And they love, the running joke that we rib each other back and forth. Some of them are Giants fans. So, it's Daniel Jones versus Zach Wilson. So anytime if Zach Wilson farts wrong in the wrong direction, like they're the first ones to text me, oh, look at Zach again, blah, blah, blah. So they throw this side, they blow up this sidearm pass that he throws. And one of my buddies say, oh, look at that. Zach throwing this pretty sidearm pass. Look at him. It barely hits him in the knees. He throws it low. I'm like, he's in, they're playing 5-on-5. And what does it matter? What is a sidearm? What is any pass that happens in 7-on-7 OTAs really, really matter? It means nothing right now. It means nothing.
Yeah. I mean, for all we know, he might literally go into the practice saying, I'm going to work on getting rid of the ball under 3 seconds. Yeah. And no matter what, I'm going to throw the ball. Nothing to do with real life. Nothing that would happen in a real game.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go back 1, 2, 3, throw.
Yeah.
And he's just working on that.
Sure.
So, there's going to be interceptions, bad throws. He's going to be throwing into coverage. He would never do that in a game. He would never just throw it, but he might have a rule. I'm going to get used to having to think fast. We don't know, because I've done that when we're just messing around and throwing a football. Having a catch, when I'm having a catch with the kids, and when with my friends when we used to play, I would do things I would never do in a game when we would play other teams. When we play kids from the other block, we were just messing around.
That's it. So I talked about playing golf tomorrow, and it's something something I'm passionate about. I play a lot. I have fun. I enjoy it. I'm not great. I'm not bad, but I enjoy it. But I've taken tons of lessons, and one of my closest friends is an assistant pro at a course, and he's given me lessons upon lessons. And I remember when I was trying to learning how to hit a draw, which is hitting the ball, if you're not a golfer, hitting the ball that bends from right to left for a righty like myself. And when I was trying to learn it, he told me, here's what I want you to do. He said, no matter what it takes, here's the midline. Your ball has to end up over here. I don't care if it's a ground ball. I don't care if it's 100 yards left that target. Your ball needs to end up on the left-hand side of the midline, So that's what I did. I practiced for buckets upon buckets. Didn't matter what it looked like. Didn't matter how it got there. My goal was to just get the ball on the left side of the midline, right? Exactly to your point. What if you said, this practice, Zach Wilson, the only thing he's going to worry about is getting the ball, getting his footwork right, and getting the ball out within 3 seconds. Doesn't care where the pass goes, doesn't care who it goes to, doesn't matter if it goes to the, hits the ground, hits a knee, hits a defensive player in the hands. He's just trying to work on getting a quick release or something like that. You never know. This is what, we do this stuff so that when the real time comes, we're locked and loaded and ready to go. We have all those reps. We're building that memory. We're building that muscle memory and whatever you're doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I think that last year, Zach Wilson definitely struggled with some short passes, the infamous screen pass into his offensive lineman's back. But let's. I mean, this is my theory on this. Okay. I think when a lot of things are going wrong, it's like quicksand, right? Things start piling on. I think that happened to Corey Davis with his drops last year. I think it happened to Zach Wilson with his short passes. When things aren't going well, when you're under tons of pressure, things don't go well. He was a rookie. Look, if he starts the season and he's throwing short passes off target, that's something that we're going to have to think about. That's a real thing. It's like, hey, at what point is he going to overcome this? I watched him. I watched a lot of his college tape. I know he's able to throw short passes accurately. I know it's not an issue with him. I say that we worry about that when we have to worry about it. And we just look at last year as what it was. Last year was chaos. I mean, not to quote my own channel's name, but it was chaos. The offensive line was a mess. They were throwing him into this offense with no handicap. They just threw the whole book at him. Not a full season to prepare. A very complicated offense with a ton of plays and a ton of different things going on with the different receivers. It's all good. It's all okay. As long, and I agree with Barney, I would be very concerned if he's throwing inaccurate short passes as we go into this season. Not practice, but in the season. If we see the game against Baltimore and he's throwing a 8-yard pass to Conklin and it's way off target, and that's happening a few times, I would be concerned. Maybe not week 1. I'm not going to panic because it's one game, but it's certainly there's something we talk about. Hey, this can't go on the next week. We're going to have to work on this. Is this going to be a pattern in his career? What do you think about it? I mean, why do you think he was inaccurate with his short passes last year?
Well, I think you kind of alluded to, the situation that he was in. And I think that's the easiest answer to make. And it's not even like like I'm dodging the question. Remember, Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick, right? He was the number 2 overall pick in the draft class. What does that mean? That means the Jets were pretty damn bad, right? If they had the number 2 overall pick, if it wasn't acquired by a trade or something like that, but that theirs wasn't, they had the number 2 overall pick. That means the team was pretty bad, And then the injuries that mounted, one after the other didn't really help the situation either. Listen, 3 quarterbacks that come to my head, and I'm not comparing Zach to any of them. I'm not comparing Zach to any of the 3, all right? Troy Aikman, Peyton Manning, Josh Allen, all 3 great quarterbacks, right? Do you guys remember their rookie seasons? Do you remember their rookie seasons? Yeah. Statistically, they were pretty awful, right? Rookies are rookies. It's more of an outlier if a rookie comes in and steals the show and blows the game out of the water than it is to have a season like Zach had. Like Zach had the cards were stacked against him. The deck was stacked against him, in every which way, shape, and form, starting from, coming on a bad team to, losing piece after piece with injuries. The wide receiver core all went down. They had no tight end to think about. His quarterback coach, for Christ's sakes, God rest his soul, died in preseason. You know what I mean? On top of learning how to be an NFL quarterback, on top of the fact that let's call a spade. He was in college shape last year. He wasn't big. He wasn't physically fit for the game yet. You know what I mean? So he had a lot, and he was on a team that started the most rookies in the NFL. Everyone knew exactly what last year was. Sure, did he look bad? You're absolutely right. There was times where he looked horrific. There was times where he looked lost. But then there was times where he looked really, really good. You know what I mean? We remember the Tennessee, I think it was a Tennessee game when Zach made that rollout pass to Corey Davis deep in the corner, that sparked my light for Zach Wilson. Like, wow, this guy is a real playmaker. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were few and far between the plays like that comparatively to the bad ones, but he was a rookie. It was a learning experience on a team full of rookies and injured players. Like, it was meant for him to get his, cut his teeth and get his feet wet in what the NFL really means.
That could have been his biggest flash of the season. And it's not just because it ended up being a touchdown. It was you very rarely, especially in your first 5 games of your career, see a quarterback be able to take that kind of leadership role, like to be rolling back like that, to having a linebacker, a 260-pound monster come in full speed at you.
Yeah.
And to actually see the pattern, to see the defense, to read what the defense is doing, and to signal to your receiver to take advantage and go deep was such a beautiful thing because it was such a veteran type of play.
Sure.
And to me, it showed so much potential in his instincts and what he can do. And that's off script. And we see how hard he's working in the pocket. And I think they're so smart for that. Everyone's saying, just let him go off script all the time. No, because he'll never get better.
That's right.
To be great, you have to be able to play in the pocket.
That's right. That's
right. So
listen, outside of what the beat is saying or following every single play, like I said, if Zach sneezes wrong, they're letting us know. Everyone around the Jets, the players, the coaches, the league itself, everyone is very, very keen to how he came in and how much better prepared he is, how much better physically in shape he is. He admitted he got himself, he got to about 200 pounds last year at the end of the season. You know what I mean? So he got himself a nutritionist and, he added, the Coach Sala called him, what do you call him? Thick? And you can see it. You can see that he's put on some muscle, so he's mentally prepared. He's physically prepared. He's, in a second year consistently with the same offense, with lots more weapons around him. Let's give we got to just pump the brakes, guys. We got to pump the brakes, coming out of a terrible situation in the rookie year, into OTAs. We're not going to see that second year leap right now. Let's see what happens. Let's have this conversation again week 8 or 9.
Absolutely. Yeah. Jeffrey, I believe mandatory starts on Tuesday. I think somebody probably already answered that question.
Yep.
I believe Becton's going to be there, but not participating. I think with the rest of the team, I think he's continuing his strengthening and everything with his trainer. I think that he'll be doing a lot what we saw videos of. And I would, this is just my guess. I would guess it's precautions that they're not going to, there's just no reason right now to rush him back in.
You're not going to see, and this is another thing that people got to slow the roll with. You know what I mean? I get it. Like, I'm as annoyed at, the Jets, when the injury first happened, they originally diagnosed it a 4 to 6 week injury, 8 weeks tops. And we're going on a year and he still hasn't practiced, or still hasn't played. But really, what sense does it make at this point? I'm sure we're not going to see him a lot of the preseason, but we don't need to. We don't need to see him right now. He doesn't need to be there. Let's just let him work and get healthy and get fit so that, again, when the time comes, we have the 5 guys up front that we want.
Yeah.
I still to this day I don't get the Mekhi Becton hate, man. I don't get it.
I'll never understand it. He's a guy who missed some games or came out of games during his first year as a rookie. It's not like he was being a whining baby about it. I mean, shit happened. Let's remember his college career. He only missed 1 game because of an ankle. Otherwise, super reliable. And I've said it a million times. I'll never get tired of saying it. I feel like it's so necessary. Van Rotten was thrown like a rag doll onto his knee. There's nothing you could do about it. It doesn't matter who you are. A 300-pound plus man was thrown onto his knee and dislocated his knee. Now, look, it's on the medical team that said 4 to 6 weeks. That's the mistake, right?
Well, I
Because
don't know if it's a medical team or if it's a PR team, really.
right, whoever.
One or
But
the
like,
other.
and the point is, it's everybody wanting to read into that you could know. With anything medical, you don't know. It's like me saying, I have a fever, but don't worry, I'll be back at work in 3 days. I promise you. And then in 3 days, I still have the fever. That's not my fault. That means that I'm not. It doesn't mean that I'm not eating soup and laying under a blanket. We don't always know. And the guy, and everyone says, oh, it's because he's overweight. What? So if he was 350 pounds instead of 380 pounds, even if it was true that he was that big, you think it makes a difference? I mean, it's craziness to me.
Yeah.
That the Mekhi Becton hate. All I saw with him as a rookie was that we have our left tackle for years to come, that we're in great shape in that position because the kid looks like a future Pro Bowler to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, he's good. There's no doubt about it. And I don't care if it's left tackle, right tackle. He's a dominant force wherever you put him. You know, line him up a fullback for all I care. You know, he's a dominant force when he's on the field. He's a dominant force on the field. He's not a dominant force on the sidelines. So let's not rush it. What's the point? What's the point of having Mekhi Becton? And I'm not saying that his knee's not healthy or so on and so forth, but why take the risk? Why take the risk on June 14th when mandatory camp starts that he's out there and plants wrong or aggravates it or something like that? It doesn't make any sense. I'm sure we're not going to see a lot of Carl Lawson either.
Yeah, I want to say hello to Iowan. I didn't know if I said hello to him yet. What's up, buddy?
What's up, Reed?
Dark Soldier and Jeffrey, we already were highlighting some of your comments. Jets Forever, what's up, buddy? Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. And I believe I saw my friend Mark, one of my channel moderators and good friends. I'm glad he was able to make it. And let's go to, I saw something here. And I agree. It is comical that we have to discuss it. And it's because the media needs something, man. Look, I'm just doing this YouTube channel. I'm kind of starting to understand. Like, you want to talk Jets, you want to make videos, and I don't even get paid. It has nothing to do with money or anything. It's just the passion of doing it. And I'm thinking, what can I possibly talk about? And then I think about these guys. Not that I'm making excuses for them, because some of the things they do is so slimy, and they could sometimes, instead of being negative, be positive. But I understand that they're really desperate to get you to read an article. And when you're standing there on the sideline watching a practice, you know, what are you going to write about? Oh, look, Zach threw a couple of picks. Let me do a headline. Zach inconsistent at practice.
Yeah.
Should we be worried? That's going to get people to click.
Yeah.
You know,
Makes
it's
sense.
just that simple. I'm going to be very honest, Jeffrey. I get like last year, I was like shaking like a leaf when Zach Wilson, played in his first preseason game. Like, I get so nervous because I'm so hopeful for him, and I understand how much is on the line and how much depends on Zach Wilson developing into a great quarterback, that it's like my nightmare that he's going to come in and look like that New England game was like a nightmare to me. It was like everything that could go wrong was going wrong. So I do get nervous when he comes in. A lot of people saw when he threw his first touchdown in preseason last year, people were commenting. I was on Green Bean's channel. We were on Jets Nation, and people were saying, I love Jeremy's reaction when he threw the touchdown to Croft in the preseason game. And because I just went nuts. And one of the reasons I went nuts was more relief. I was just so relieved that Zach did something good, because it's just so nerve-wracking. Because again, it's like you know how you bring up that trauma of 40 years of being a Jets fan. Your future franchise quarterback, you hope is going to finally be the guy that rescues your organization, comes out and sucks. That's how you just bring back all the trauma. And I'm so afraid of being in that place that I get super nervous when he plays.
I don't get nervous. I think I'm just kind of numb to it all, from, like you said, like always having my expectations kind of just fall flat, So I think I'm kind of numb to it all. I don't get that feeling with Zach, though. At least I'll say this much. to this point, I haven't gotten that feeling with Zach because I had no expectations for him last year. I really didn't. I was one of the few. I didn't expect him to come out and light the world on fire, light the NFL on fire. I didn't expect him to come out and be an overall bust that we knew coming out of year one that we made a mistake. And I didn't feel either of that. I'm very optimistic for the way that this team has been built and the team surrounding him is kind of putting him in a position to succeed. And that's not what we've had in the past.
Yeah.
I was when Sam Darnold got drafted, I was elated. I really thought, actually, I shouldn't. Let me even rewind before that. When Mark Sanchez got drafted, I was elated. And he came out and he had that good season. The team was good his rookie year. And I was a little bit more of a naive Jets fan. Not so intuitive or didn't really study as hard. And I was like, I bit hard and I fell right into the whole Sanchez thing. Like he's our savior, and then we got burned. And then when Sam came, I was elated when we drafted Sam Darnold, and he failed to impress in the years that he was here, and I knew Sam Darnold was done. And I knew Sam Darnold wasn't the Jets quarterback after the Seeing Ghosts game on Monday night,
Yeah, I kind of, I remember I wasn't as excited about Sam as I was when we drafted Zach. I was a lot more into Zach, probably because I watched more tape on him and stuff and just got really pumped up about him. But I remember telling my wife, because she was asking me the day of that draft when we drafted Sam, we took the dog for a walk. We're walking around Sacramento and she says, "How do you know if he's going to be good?" I go, "Well, it's really hard to tell." And I was trying to explain to her, there's so many guys, so many quarterbacks out there that if we sat there and watched them live would blow us away with how they can throw the ball 40 yards into people's chests and they look amazing. And I said, my interpretation just was there's just very few that in an NFL game with the speed of the game can look like in college. You can get away with looking at one receiver against a lot of competition.
Yep.
In the NFL, you can't look at one receiver. And sometimes it's just hard to tell who's going to be able to make the adjustment and who's not. And I remember saying, I don't know if Darnold's going to be able to make that adjustment or not. If he does, he certainly is one of those guys with crazy talent. He could throw a bullet into people's chest. He could throw up and down everywhere. I go, we just don't know if he's going to, have that ability to see the field and look at different directions and make quick decisions. And it's the same thing now with Zach that we're watching. And I'm, at the end of last year has me a lot more hopeful because his numbers might not look as good as Sam's was the first year. But if you're looking at the decision-making and the growth, to me, there's a difference.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I agree in a very tepid manner, I do. And I'm going to say it because I'll say it like this. I think there was progress in the fact that, Zach wasn't turning the ball over and, didn't look lost, he learned or he was either honed in and the coaching staff really played to his strengths of what they were last year. And, he managed the games very well, but that can't be the ceiling. That's why I said it very tepid, everyone talks about, and at least I've seen on Twitter and through other shows and a lot of chatter I've had back and forth with, the Jets universe, everyone's like, hey, if he can turn into Kirk Cousins, we're going to be okay. Like that's not, I don't think that's franchise material. Kirk Cousins, it's no disrespect to Kirk Cousins. He's a good quarterback. You know what I mean? But I think Zach has the ability to be more than just a game manager who throws for, 220 yards and a touchdown every game.
Oh yeah, you don't pick a guy.
I think he's more.
Pick a guy second overall.
Correct.
To be a 220-yard, one touchdown game manager.
Yeah. They want him to turn into Kirk Cousins, and like you said, Kirk Cousins was a 4th-round draft pick when he came. When Washington took him. They drafted him to be. They drafted him. They drafted him to be the backup quarterback. That's the same year they drafted Robert Griffin.
I'm certainly hoping that Zach Wilson is more than the guy that can win a Super Bowl. If everyone else around him is great, he's good enough. That's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for and what I'm hopeful for with Zach Wilson, I'm such a big fan of his, is I think he's a guy like one of the great quarterbacks who can help be the reason we're winning Super Bowls,
Sure.
Like, I don't like comparing. I don't like saying names like Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, but when people say like like Josh Allen, like people say, oh, you can't say those names. Look, I'm not guaranteeing or saying he's going to be as good as those guys, but to hope that he's going to get to that level is not crazy. He was the number 2 overall pick. Why wouldn't we hope that he gets to that level?
Sure.
Right? And when Aaron Rodgers slipped to the back of the first round, if you said, oh, he's going to be the best quarterback, a Hall of Fame quarterback, Super Bowl quarterback, obviously everyone would have said you were nuts before he ever played it down when he was backing up Brett Favre. So you never know who's going to rise to that level. I'm hoping that, obviously, and I believe we haven't seen the ceiling for Zach Wilson, and I'm still hopeful, and I still dream that it could be that kind of ceiling, that he's going to be one of the elite quarterbacks in the NFL in 2 years from now, and he's going to be this big name. I'm not guaranteeing it or saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying I'm hopeful that it can happen, and I don't think we've seen any evidence that it can't happen.
Correct. I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
Yep. So keep our fingers crossed, right? And just hope it goes well. And I agree with this. The preseason is not practice. The preseason is when I don't know that they're using the full scheme. They might be just doing basic plays, but you definitely don't want to see him inaccurate. I mean, I think when they play a preseason game, he's there to work on real life situations. So if he's inaccurate and throwing bad passes, you have to be a little bit concerned at that point. At that point, you have to say, come on, man, it's preseason now. We're playing in these games. It's game time. This is when I don't care so much about the play calling, because I know that they're not going to give away things in this, to the scout that, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, all the teams we're going to be playing that are going to be scouting us. But I want to see the execution for all the players in preseason be impressive.
Yeah.
So
listen, you know what I want to get out of preseason? I'm going to get out healthy. Give me a series or two with the starters and let these, guys who are fighting for the last couple spots on the 53-man roster get at it. I hope and pray that the Jets feel so comfortable going into this preseason that we see a whole hell of a lot of Mike White.
Yeah,
that'll make me happy in twofold. One, because I think that at that point, if we see a lot of that, where we see Zach in for a series or two and then, helmet off, baseball cap on, that they're comfortable with what he's, going in, what he has or what he's done. And two, that means that there's that much more of a chance that he's going into the regular season healthy.
Yeah.
And healthy is the most important thing, right? They say that the best ability an NFL player can have is what? Availability, right? We've learned the hard way, especially last year. That's not always the case for the Jets. So let's go into this. Let's go into the season healthy.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm excited about, other than, one of them is definitely these new tight ends. I agree with Barney. Having real tight ends, and these tight ends definitely cannot hurt. There's so much I'm excited about. Lincoln Tomlinson, with all this hoopla, with, I'm not blaming anyone. I mean, all this excitement of the draft and the fact that we got 4 guys that you can argue are top 30 players in the draft overall. With all this excitement, it's very easy to forget that we signed an all-pro guard, that we literally went from Van Roten to an all-pro guard. And Becton is coming back. A guy who was playing like a future Pro Bowler is coming back. That's 40% of the offensive line right there. Mm-hmm. Then you have to assume, I mean, it's normal and very common that AVT is going to be better than he was last year, because that's just what happens when you're in your second year as an offensive guard. If you look at offensive guards in football, how many or any position are not better players year 2?
Yeah,
most of them are.
Yeah.
So we get to see McGovern start a season with the same system from the season before. We haven't seen that since he's been on the team, where he gets to play the same system, and he looked good the second half of last year in this system.
He looked a lot better in the second half than he did in the first half for sure.
Yeah.
And that was even that much more better than he did the year prior. You know,
Right.
listen, if there's a weak link on our offensive line, I'd say right now, you could probably say with certainty it's McGovern. But if your weak link is the 12th, grades out as the 12th best center in the league last year, I think you're in pretty good shape. Good shape. You got to remember, like you said, now he's going to be flanked by a Pro Bowler and a potential long-term Pro Bowler, as opposed to a rookie and Van Roten or LDT or whoever else filled in at the right guard spot.
Yep. Yep. No. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm an advocate, and those who do follow me and read my stuff on greenbeanjetsfan.com, I said, like, two of the guys that I really, really think the Jets, should have dipped their toes in the water with. One we brought in and had recently talked about in Riley Reef, and the other one's it's J.C. Treader. I will take J.C. Treader as an upgrade right now and wish Connor McGovern, I'll bid him adieu.
Wow.
That's an upgrade. Guys like that, good teams make moves like that. They get better when they can. My big concern with that, it's not so much McGovern. Like, listen, you're serviceable. You're not going to have an all-pro at every position. That's just not unless you're the Rams, Peo. You're not going to have an all-pro at every position. So McGovern's not the worst. He's not the best. He's probably right in the middle. I think the big pink elephant in the room is George Fant going to live up and repeat last year's game, or is he going to divert back to what he was the year prior, where he was awful?
Yeah. I mean, look, I wouldn't even say we would have to cut McGovern, right, if they signed him, because McGovern would be your backup center / another backup guard just for a deeper line. Like, I mean,
but not at that price.
Yeah,
not at that price. That's
if we cut
$9.5 million, and you can be out of it. You can be out of it scot-free.
Yeah. Oh, we still. It's not too late to be out of that money.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much. I don't know how much of it they've paid. I don't know how much of it they paid already. So you would lose whatever portion that he's already been paid out.
Right. The point is,
I'm saying without any dead money or salary cap implications.
Yeah, we're talking about a possible $8 million saved, and even if you don't use it, they would use it because that's what they would have to bring in those guys, and that would cost money. So,
yeah.
Why is he not signed, Treader?
You know what? That's a good question, man. I don't know. And it could be something that, listen, the guy, J.C. Treader's an excellent player. He's not super old. He's north of 30, but he's not 35, 36. He's still got some tread on the tire. The only thing I can think of is that he's just waiting for he's waiting for the right situation, the right time, the right deal, the right injury to happen where he can step in and kind of, pick his poison where he wants to play, or maybe there's one of those underlying injuries that none of us know about, a la Nakobe Dean, where people aren't really interested. They want to see, if he gets better, if he's healthy, if he's fully recovered, so on and so forth. I don't know. But that one boggles my mind. There's a couple guys out there that are still out there that boggle my mind that they haven't been soaked up by somebody. You know what I mean? J.C. Treader's one of them.
Yeah.
My guess is that he's just waiting at this time. He's a grizzled vet. He knows he can come in, he can step in, and he can play in most systems. Because he's a good fit for the zone blocking scheme, but he can play in a power scheme as well. So putting him in is not going to be a problem. I just think probably he's just he's waiting for the right time. He's waiting for the dollars to make sense. He's in no rush. Why push himself in June when he can just wait for things to kind of fall into place in the right way for him and put him and his family in the best situation where he wants to play.
Yep. And this is another point. So we were talking about the tight ends. You talk about the offensive line. We could just go to room and room in the offense, how much help we've given Zach Wilson. It cannot be understated. The potential. I know he hasn't taken – I'll play Gitmo Bob for a second. Brees Hall has not taken a snap in the NFL in a real game. Okay,
Correct.
so with that in mind, and just going on the talent and what we've seen and what we believe based on what we've seen, there's a very strong possibility. There's so many players that could be the best addition that we added. And it's hard to even think that it's going to be one because Lincoln Tomlinson can arguably be the most important addition, right? Garrett Wilson might go crazy and be the most important addition. But this guy, Brees Hall, definitely, there's a possibility could be the greatest addition of 2022. This guy could end up being Jonathan Tyler, or is it Taylor? I think it's from Taylor. Yeah. This guy can end up being Henry. This guy can end up being an elite running back. I'm not saying he's going to, Gitmo. I'm saying he could end up being an elite top 3 NFL running back. It's very possible. And wouldn't that make him the biggest addition to the team?
Yeah. Well, listen, I'll say this. Brees Hall was my favorite draft pick of the Jets draft this past season. And we all know how well they did in the draft, but he was my favorite draft pick. I didn't, I'm not going to sit here and claim that I projected him or I knew it or this or that. But after it was done and it all kind of resonated, like it makes such sense, like he, and I will say this, that, I definitely had him, as a lot of people did, as the best running back in the class. And I had him he was way up here. He was way up here, and everyone else was kind of like down in here, He's talented, he's great. He's, what he can bring to an offense is, and what he's done, the production that he's done at, the NCAA level, that speaks for itself, However, what the biggest part that I think we all have to remember is that LaFleur and Saleh and the whole Jets organization believes, and they hang their hat on that whole running back by committee. We need bodies, Look at what San Francisco has done since Shanahan's taken over, right? I can name off the top of my head. The kid Mitchell they drafted last year. They had Raheem Mostert. They had, probably 4 or 5 guys over the past couple years that have all been the man for, games or part of a season, right? Mm-hmm. The rotation in keeping somebody fresh is of paramount importance to this offensive game plan for these coaches, at least. Maybe not to the game plan, but they think it's more important. They look at the analytical, the analytics of it and say, listen, we don't want to get a guy more than 16 to 18 touches a game, because their performance is at 16 to 18 touches. When we go to 20, 24, 26 touches, their production drops down to here. So I don't know. I think he's going to be the most important part to our offense. If he can come in and show that he's got the chops to really protect and understand pass protection in the NFL level, I think he's going to be on the field, and I think he's going to pay dividends, and he could be the best running back in green since Curtis Martin,
Oh, I believe it. I believe it.
He's got the skills to do it. Listen, he's got the skills to do it. Those guys, especially the guys who are here, who are part of the Beanbaggers, have heard me say so many times, like, this guy is the quintessential zone blocking scheme running back. He's got this innate ability to just plant one cut and go, and he's got that second gear, man. He runs a 4.35. He's fast, he's big, he's strong. He's got ridiculous contact balance. So he runs through, he runs through arms tackles. Like, he is legit, but he's still got to, all that stuff they did in college, 8,000 yards in college, 50, 70 touchdowns, something like that. All that stuff means nothing if he can't pick up NFL pass blocking schemes. He won't be on the field. That's just what it is. That's the truth.
Right. No, that's a reality. What I love about him is the consistency. It didn't matter who they were playing. It wasn't like, oh, he was great when they were beating up bad teams. You look at his performances, and it didn't matter who they were playing that day. It seemed like he was the best guy on the field or the best athlete, best player on the field, along with a couple of others. Like obviously when you're playing great teams, there's other guys, but he was one of those standout guys, and it didn't matter who they were playing. He never looked weak.
Yeah.
What I love more than anything, there's something about the way he runs that I like. It's like almost like he's pounding the ground. Like it's almost like he's beating the ground up with his feet.
He's got tree trunks for legs. First off, he's got huge. He's very, very stout from in the lower half of his body. He's got big, strong tree trunk legs, but yet nimble feet. And he's also, what people don't talk about a lot with Breece Hall is he's excellent out of the backfield. He's got very, very soft, reliable hands. Now, he wasn't asked to run a full route tree or anything like that. Like, he's not going to be James White in New England or one of those true scat back receiving backs that we talk about. But he's not going to hinder you. He's not going to hinder you when he's running pass routes. In college he ran 3. I'm sure he ran more than 3, but for the most time it was either a screen, a short dump off kind of security little flare, or he ran those quick unders where either in or out. Those are the only routes he ran in college. No route really extended past 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, because that's just not the offense that they ran. But he's got soft hands. He's very reliable. And like I said, what he can do with the ball in his hand, what he does after the catch or after the run with the ball in his hands, that's what makes him special. That's what made Michael Carter special. Michael Carter, for a guy who's 5'8", 200 pounds soaking wet, like Michael Carter runs like a little bowling ball. You know what I mean? Again,
contact.
Very similar, very elite contact balance. There's always falling forwards, always gaining yards. The first tackler is not going to get him down with an arm. You know what I mean? Sure, if CJ Mosley was on the opposition and he was bearing down and he hit Michael Carter in the hole, he's probably going to knock him down. Sure. But for the most part, like these guys, they evade and they avoid very, very well. They're very, very similar. They're not built the same, but their running styles and their abilities and play mentality and play recognition are very similar, which is why I think there's such a good complement for one another in the backfield. Now, one of the two has to step up and learn how to pass block. Michael Carter was very willing last year. He just wasn't very good. And I watched a lot of Breece Hall. The guys who are here or don't know me, like I spend a lot of time in the college game watching and either stuff highlights that I find online or the game films that I do get. I spend a lot of time. Now, Breece Hall did this thing like a lot of NFL players do. It's not uncommon. Anyone who's played football knows what a cut block is, right? Guys come and you duck really low. You take them out kind of at the knees. You can't, or at the waist. You can't really go below that. They could get flagged for it now. But you just kind of go low and so on and so forth. Breece Hall, did that effectively in college, but he spent a lot of time with his face in the dirt, Now you get TJ Watt coming across the end when we're in Pittsburgh and Breece Hall lines up, is backtracking, backpedaling, and then goes to cut him. TJ Watt's going to step on him and jump and probably Hulk smash Zach Wilson into the 35-yard line. It's not going to work in the NFL.
Right.
This is the stuff I'm talking about where, there's a difference between effort and execution. We need to execute. Our running backs need to execute in the pass, in the pass blocking schemes. Probably the most effective one we had is Tevin Coleman.
Well, yeah, that's why he made the team. Everybody was Coleman. What's the thing about Coleman? Coleman was the guy that they can trust. They knew, right? They had to have one guy that they knew factually they can trust is not going to get the quarterback killed when he has to block and pass protect.
Absolutely. That's what, and that's the job he served, right? When you have a veteran like that who's still very fast. Nonetheless, Tevin Coleman still averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Granted, he only did on 85, 90 carries last year, but he still averaged 4.5 yards a carry. But there's something to be said about somebody who knows the intricacies of your offense. They know your vernacular. They know, the coaches are comfortable with you. There's a reason why when a coach goes somewhere, usually some players follow or some coaches follow because they're there, they know the scheme. They're there to help, and we have a veteran like Kevin Coleman in the running back room with guys, second year Michael Carter and a rookie Breece Hall. I mean, what's better? It's like having another coach.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. I love it. I love him as the number 3. I think it's a great thing to have a veteran like that, especially somebody who knows the system.
Yeah.
He's been with the coaching staff. I mean, you may even see him be a running back coach someday.
Yeah. And shameless plug. I have an article coming out that talks about our running back room on greenbeanjetsfan.com this week. Please check it out. It's really good. It's really in depth. And I talk about all these guys and then some.
Yep. That's Green Bean Jets fan. And I have not talked about that a lot. I got to upload some of the pictures or whatever. I did get to meet on vacation. I got to meet up with Green Bean. It was cool, man.
Get out of here.
He talked about it before I talked about it because I have everybody coming over to me going, Jeremy, you're tall. That was because the first thing he said to me, Green Bean, is he comes over and he goes, dude, you're tall, man. I thought you were a small guy.
Yeah. So not many, I don't even know if you know, Jeremy, but not many people know. Green Bean and I grew up in the same town.
Uh-huh.
We grew up together. We were friendly, and he's older than I am. I was a very, very close friends with his sisters who were my age. So Green Bean and I go back. We played on we played for the same Pee Wee football team and so on and so forth. So we have a little bit of a history.
That's cool. I know. I knew there was something there. I never knew the exact extent of it, but I knew that that you were a friend that went back, from before all of this.
Yes.
But we had a good time. He took us for a little bit of a tour of Richmond, not on purpose, but we walked around a lot, and then we ended up eating great barbecue. It was great to meet him in person. It was great to talk to him in person. It's always so weird that first time when you meet somebody when you know them online and then you meet in person. But I think it took about 2 minutes and we were fairly comfortable. Everybody, my wife was there too, and we were all pretty comfortable with each other and everything. Good. So it was nice. Anyway, I agree with Iwan 100%. This is the comment that I completely agree with. We have every reason to be excited. I have no argument with that whatsoever. I think that we've had a reason to be excited for the last 18 months, to be honest. But it's definitely peaked.
Yeah. No, I'm just reading the comment you just posted. Depth. I mean, this team is deep. Listen, we don't talk about this a lot. There's going to be some good players that are cut from the Jets. Come August, come September, there's going to be some good players. When we trim down to 53, we're going to lose a lot of quality players. We haven't said that in a long, long time, right? We haven't said that in a long, long time. Like I said, JD has been building this thing the right way.
Absolutely.
JD's been building this thing the right way.
It's so great. I love that. We have somebody here in the chat who loves to just be negative. He's a Miami fan, not Grandizer. He's a different guy. It was fine. He's welcome here, but it's so funny because he's saying all these things that are just so from the outside. Someone who just doesn't know anything, like who's like the way we don't know about the Dolphins deeply, or we don't know about Jacksonville deeply, and it's just so silly to us because we're so in on it, and this guy has no clue. He's like sitting here saying, it's almost humorous. And I can't wait. I can't wait until not just this year. I'm not one of those guys. This year we're going to show you. I'm talking about the whole project of Joe Douglas and this team. Mm-hmm. Whatever this year, I'm talking about the next 5 years. I'm not saying it's going to take 5 years to be good. I'm saying each year we're going to get better. Whatever this year is going to be, it's going to be. But at some point, whether it's this year or next year, this team is going to explode like the Niners did and be incredibly good, like really good, and a serious competitor. And I wonder if Pete, that's his name. I wonder if he's going to show up here anymore. I wonder if he's going to still say it. I wonder And I'm not doing it to put you down because I get it. I don't know anything about the Dolphins as much. Like, I don't know nearly as much about the Dolphins. I look at some of Tyreek Hill, good. He looks good. He looks great, but you're just not in on the Jets and what the Jets are doing. That's all I'm going to say. What's up, Owen? It's really good to see you. Really excited to see you. And you know what? I don't blame non-Jets fans for not believing and thinking this is all a joke because we've given no one any reason to believe in us or take us seriously.
No.
I've been saying health is good. Health is going to be my favorite player this year. Yeah, all of this is based on health. Can't say it enough. It's all based on health. All of these things we're talking about is if we're healthy.
As always.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be healthy.
And that's it. And that's the thing. Like, somebody's been, I've been talking to a lot of guys and they say, oh, what are your predictions? What do you think the Jets have? What do you predict the Jets record to be this year? I got a simple answer. They're going to be somewhere between 0-17 and 17-0. It's impossible. It's impossible to forecast where we're going to be. You don't know who's going to stay healthy. I can guess, 8 wins, 9 wins, 10 wins. And then Zach Wilson goes down in week 1 and we lose, Quinn Williams and CJ Mosley in week 2. And then what happens? Are we still that same 8-win, 9-win team? We could have, Tyreek Hill and Tua Tagovailoa could go down in week 1, and, then we're playing teams that are also facing the injury bug. So you never know, staying healthy is the absolute, is an absolute must for any NFL team.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's just so important. The one thing I will say is I feel like we're better built now to be able to sustain some injuries. Like we can have a tight end get hurt and be okay because we have a lot of good tight ends. Sure. We could have a wide receiver go down and be okay, especially if Mims bounces back. We could be really deep in that room. I think we're good in guard right now. I think guard is okay. I'm worried about tackle. That's why we want to sign this guy, Reef, right? I mean, that would, like you said, would be like the Morgan Moses signing. It would be the big signing to give us that protection at tackle. Mm-hmm. Running back, we're no longer, Michael Carter gets hurt and we're screwed. We're no longer in that situation. So we are starting to build the team up to a point where we can afford, because some guys are going to get banged up, that we're not going to have to sit there and think, oh, we can't win this game.
Yeah.
So you're asking what happened with Riley Reef. One of the things we're going to have to get used to with Joe Douglas is when guys visit one Jets drive, don't expect it to be a quick, we signed them the next day.
Yeah.
Because Joe Douglas is just a bite in the ass negotiator. He just does not give an inch.
From what I understand, or from what I hear, that there's, that the interest is there for both sides. Obviously, there's more to come. There's more to come about it. I don't know how the medicals came back because he did suffer an ankle injury, which he lost at the end of the year last year, Riley Reef in Cincinnati. So I don't know if they're waiting on medicals. It might just be at this point just a waiting game to see. All right, well, this is the ballpark of number that we're willing to offer, and Riley Reef's, contingency says, well, this is the ballpark of number that we're looking to get, and they might just wait, until that happens and say, all right, well, we know that, we now have linebacker A or linebacker B that we're going to be comfortable with, so we can get rid of this guy, and that's going to save us $3 million. We can give that $3 million to Riley Reef, so on and so forth. Remember, Morgan Moses wasn't signed until the summer last year. So I don't expect him to come into camp, see meet Joe Douglas, meet Robert Saleh, and sign that day. Yeah.
I mean, hey, he's hoping somebody's going to come and offer him $5-6 million, and we're probably coming in and offering $3.5 million, right? Or maybe $4.
Listen, I'd probably say I would guess that somewhere around that $5 million mark probably makes sense for him. Mm-hmm. That's the same money that we spent on Morgan Moses last year.
Yeah.
And he's the same caliber player that Morgan Moses is, almost to a T in regards to age and experience. And starts under his belt that Riley Reef has plenty more. He's that legitimate competent swing tackle. He's not the best. He's not the best in the world anymore. He's not gonna, win any Pro Bowls or put the team on his back, but he's a reliable piece that, if need be, can come in and really serve a purpose and start without having that big of a downgrade, right? He's 10 times. I'll say this. I'm confident right now that Riley Reef today is a better player than Chuma Dog is. Riley Reef is a better player than McDermott is. Riley Reef's a better player than Max Mitchell is right now. That's a fact.
Yeah. Oh, no, definitely, because of the experience.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely. We don't know what we're getting with Max Mitchell. We don't know if he's ready yet. We don't know if he'll ever be ready. He could be a bust.
Joking, right?
Yeah. I hear certain things from other camps. Like I heard, I don't know how serious to take it.
Okay.
Like someone said early on in OTAs for the Giants that Thibodeau looked very pedestrian. But I haven't heard anybody say anything about Jermaine Johnson.
You know what's funny? I'm glad you brought that up, Jeremy. Mm-hmm. I have not, and I live in New Jersey, and I live in northern New Jersey, and I have heard basically nothing out of the Giants camp, from the Giants beat or from any of my buddies who are really, deep down in, outside of the fact that they now have, they drafted the really kind of smallish receiver there, and they plan on lining him up next to Tony and letting those two run around the field like two jitterbugs. That's the only thing that I've heard out of Giants camp. I haven't heard anything about Thibodeau. I haven't heard anything about Neal.
Yeah. Well, I did hear something about Neal. I heard that Neal is, once he gets his hands on you, it's over. A fellow offensive lineman for the Giants said that. One of their guards said, the kid's incredible. No one can, do anything once he gets his hands on you. That was the one person I did hear very positive things about was Neal. It was just an article or something that came out from another of the offensive linemen for the Giants, who actually I trust more than any media people, but he specifically came out and said, "Oh my God, this kid's amazing." So we'll see. The Giants could be very good as far as tackles. If Andrew Thomas was looking very good last year, he had a great sophomore year. With Neal and Thomas, they could have a very good tackles.
Listen, they needed to beef up. They needed to beef up front, and they did. Yeah. Kudos to them. They drafted two guards too.
Yeah. I just want to say out there, just because I feel the need to defend my team sometimes when someone keeps running their mouth. The Dolphins haven't won a Super Bowl since 1973. The Dolphins had one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL in Dan Marino and won 0 Super Bowls. Dolphin fans have no position to put down Jets fans. If there's any organization that's as pathetic as the New York Jets, it's arguably the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are nothing. They haven't been anything since 1973, nothing. They went to a Super Bowl and they got crushed. They're nothing. So stop. I don't know why Dolphin fans walk around so arrogantly. What are they arrogant about? With this stupid champagne glasses, the 1973, the 4 guys that are still alive. I mean, it's freaking 47 years ago. It's ancient history. And we've been to more AFC championship games in the last 25 years than the Dolphins. So I don't get it. But anyway, I just have to throw that in. That's why I don't hate the Dolphins, because I couldn't care less about the Dolphins. I hate the Patriots. You know what I mean? That's why I hate the Dolphins. Why would I hate the Dolphins? They're just another shit organization that we've been. Shit organization. Well, what a joke.
Listen, man, Pete's Takes or whatever your name is, dude. I think it's awesome that you love the Dolphins. I do. Support your team, man. That's great. You want to come in here and banter with us? That's great too. We'd love to have you. But I don't understand the whole troll factor. Yeah. I don't get it, man. You want to get some insight? You want to talk football? Come talk football. But coming on to a Jet show to bash the Jets, what does that prove?
I don't know. And I've tried to get him to talk and just have discussion, but it's just what's for dinner? Oh, okay. Wait a second. Connor, the putz is all out on Zach. That's a reference to me calling Connor a putz. I have called him a putz. I've also called Rich Cimini a putz. I like Frankie's name for Rich Cimini. What does he call him? Chimney? Dick Chimney?
Yeah, Dick Chimney.
I'm not even mad at Cimini as much, like Cimini hasn't pissed me off much. He sets up like stupid questions, like target questions to get answers, but he hasn't written anything that's pissed me off in a long time, to be honest. Cimini, like this offseason, he hasn't gotten under my skin.
Cimini, since Cimini came on or went on the Jets Lounge on Twitter Space, it seems like Cimini has kind of mellowed out, and he's actually been a little bit more positive. Connor's now taking the reins as like Mr. Negative. He let Manish Mehta. He's taking Manish Mehta to a whole nother level. You know what I mean? About like the derogatory negative stuff. So whatever, he gets paid for it. It's his opinion. He's entitled to it. And we're entitled to think he's a putz.
Yeah. DJ Bien I like DJ Bien as a Jets reporter. This is weird. I like him as a Jets reporter because he gives tons of information like during like the practices and stuff. And I like the articles he writes. And I think he's fine. I don't like him as a sports fan because he talks trash and then pisses me off. But he doesn't piss me off as a journalist. He pisses me off just as a guy who likes Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins. You know what I mean? So I have nothing against him professionally, though. Like, I think he's doing a fine job professionally. I think it's more of just, he's also very personal on Twitter. He's not on Twitter. He's not just a journalist. He's also just himself. And as himself, he's a pain in the neck because he's like a rival sports fan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, there's a good comment in the chat here by 11:11 p.m. PJ Burkett. Want to pop that up?
11:11 p.m. I'm so far behind, so maybe that's a good excuse to just move forward. Man, I really spoiled my brother. When I was there, we ate out to eat so much, and now I'm sure he has to like be cooking again. It's probably a pain in his neck. PJ Burkett, what's up, man? Good to see you again. What do you need to see from Mims in preseason to consider him a 4 or 5 out wideout on this team? It's a really good question. I'm going to let you take first crack at it, Tom.
Yeah, I'll take first crack at it, and I'm going to say this. I think I think that there's a role for Mims on the team. I don't think there's any question. I mean, barring some crazy situation that happens, that Mims isn't our 4 or 5 on this team. He's young. We know that last year was a struggle for him with his health and everything else, not knowing the playbook or knowing the playbook. Whichever way you want to paint it. But he offers something that this team really, he has a skill set that our offense, our wide receiver room needs. He's a big target. He's very, very, he's very, very fast. He's a big target. We don't have that prototypical X. Yes, we're going to use Corey Davis in that role, and maybe it'll work this year for the way the offense is. But Mims will play. I don't know how many snaps he'll get a game, but I think his role and his position is set on our team. I'm expecting Mims to really, really put all that negative stuff that everyone's had or felt against him to the wayside this year. I'm really expecting good things from Denzel Mims. There's a reason why we took him that high. He's a talented kid. He's 24 years old. He has the speed. He has the size. He has, all the intangibles. He has all the physical tools to be a good NFL player. He's just young. In college, he ran 3 routes in college. I'm not giving up on a kid that big, that tall, who's in his, what's he, is this his second year, third year, going into his third year. Like,
he's 23.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's 23. Let's give the kid a break. I think he's going to have this role. I wouldn't be surprised. I'll say this. Maybe it's a hot take. I think he has more of more of an effect on the offense than Braxton Berrios does this year.
Yep. No, before I talk about Mims, I just got to say something. Talking with Tigo is in the chat. He just came into the chat. He is in the hospital right now with his wife, who is, I believe, about to give birth. So I want to just say, Tigo, if you hear me, hopefully you're still here, because I can imagine at the hospital any second you had to shut the volume down or stop talking. I don't know if you're listening, but I want you to know that, like, I am so with you spiritually right now. I am so excited for you, and I am so hopeful that that this baby is perfectly 100% healthy, and your wife delivers perfectly and is healthy. I have all the hopes in the world, and like, my thoughts are with that happening. And I'm so excited for you, brother. I am so super, super excited for you. I cannot wait to see pictures of your son.
Yeah.
And,
God bless Tigo, man. Congratulations, bro.
Yeah. And everybody just put out good vibes for Tebow. He's about to Tigo, he's about to become a dad. And that's just, my God, that's what it's all about, man. That's bigger than anything we could talk about on this show. So we are with you, my friends, and I cannot wait to hear all the good news and see all the pictures. I just super, super excited. And just best of luck, my friend. So when it comes to Mims, I loved Mims' first year. I don't believe that a player could magically lose his talent.
Correct.
Clearly has talent. He's super fast. Always had good hands in college, and didn't have the dropsies or anything like that. Physically strong, great mentality, power, like, doesn't give up, doesn't go down on first contact, is willing to block, very willing blocker. Complete wide receiver, in my opinion. That's how I always knew him. My theory on him is that he got sick last year, and he had the food poisoning, and he lost 20 pounds. And I think people really understate or underestimate how real that is.
Yeah.
When you get so ill that you lose 20 pounds, how long it takes to recover, right at the moment that he has to learn this incredibly complex offense that's completely different than any offense he's played in his life, right? We're talking about dozens and dozens of plays where you have to, not just the play. Frankie put this out so well. Like, he put out like a little diagram. Every play has like 3 different options based on where the defender is. There's so much to this offense. And here's my theory. My theory is that Denzel Mims is like me. Denzel Mims, like a lot of us, and there are people here listening to this that probably fit this mold. Some people could look at a book, look at the diagram, look at the chart, looks at the chalkboard, the X's and O's, and they could visualize it, and they could learn that way. And some people are kinesthetic learners. They have to do it. They have to physically do it. My theory is that Denzel Mims couldn't physically do it, so he couldn't learn it because he wasn't doing it. And that's very common, because I'm an educator. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's this person's smarter, not smarter. We have different modalities of learning. We learn different ways. I learn kinesthetically. I learn by doing. Don't tell me to read a book or read an instruction page on how to work YouTube. I learned how to do this show by doing it, making the mistakes, doing it. Green Bean helped me out with a few things on the phone, guiding me through it, doing it. That's how I learn. My theory is that's how Denzel Mims learns, by doing it. He didn't get the chance to learn that way. So he fell behind, and he was weak. Then he gets COVID. So his whole year got screwed up. He has his first full offseason. What does he do during the offseason? He puts on 20 pounds of muscle, so he gets all his strength back. And he meets up every opportunity. You always saw that he was there. When Zach met up with guys, it was always Mims as part of the crew. There. He did it. He's doing now. Right? He's going into a full offseason where he's getting to actually run the routes. He's getting to make the mistakes and be told, no, this is what you do. Oh, okay. This is all what's happening in my mind. This is what I'm imagining is going on with Denzel Mims. And I think that when he is running the plays and executing the plays the way he's supposed to, nothing happened to that talent.
Yep.
So he's going to be potentially, I'm not going to predict it. I'm not going to count on him. But I'm going to say potentially his ceiling could still be very high. And he still might be the guy that takes over for Corey Davis when Corey Davis's contract expires.
Yeah. And the Jets can get out of Corey Davis next year relatively cheaply.
Right.
So,
but if he's good, they won't because it's a bargain.
yeah. Yeah.
$11
$11 million is a steal this year for for a wide receiver too.
Yeah. Yeah. So Cameron says I'm spot on about something. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate it. That's from long ago, I think, but but hey, J. Cole, if you're out there, I mean, this is when we need you. It's like, where's J. Cole when you need him? There's a guy in the chat right now that you could just do what you have permission to do whatever you want with him. Go crazy, J. Cole. Go crazy. It's like the movie Replacements. Remember what I said about red shirts? No more. You don't have to worry about it. Go for it. So wherever you are, J. Cole, do your thing. What's up? I didn't get to say hello to Chris Bradigan. By the way, who the hell is Miami's backup quarterback? I think that is Bridgewater, right?
No.
Miami doesn't have Bridgewater as their quarterback. I thought they got the guy from Denver. Isn't that Terry Bridgewater or whatever? Am I saying his name wrong? I thought he went from Denver to.
Listen, I don't know. Pete can probably answer that. I don't know who their backup quarterback is.
I think it's Bridgewater, and I think he's better than Tua. I think their backup quarterback is better than their starter. I'm worried we're going to knock Tua out of the game because I don't want to go up against Terry Bridgewater. I don't think Tyreek Hill is unstable. He's not going to pull an Antonio Brown. What are you talking about, Sean? Tyreek Hill is not unstable because there's no way the Jets would have been interested in him if he was. We don't go for guys like that. So, here we go. Just looking at someone. It is Bridgewater. You see that? I know my football. Homegrown kid from Miami, Bridgewater will say
Teddy Bridgewater. Yeah, he's a Florida guy.
He's a good player.
Listen, and he's a good dude too. Yeah. For the cup of tea, cup of coffee that he had here in New York, everyone had nothing but praise for the guy.
Yeah, I like Bridgewater.
Yeah.
Grandizer is a Miami Dolphin fan, although he's not a troll. He's not here to put us down and talk bad things. He's here to talk football. So
and Grandizer, a lot of guys complimenting me on my hat. I didn't know it was going to be such a hit. I tell you.
Oh, I see that. Did we compliment Dom on his hat? Lower it down a little bit. What does it say on it? Oh, it's just a nice little Chicago style Al Capone type hat.
Yeah.
Okay.
What they call the Goopaline.
Noel, welcome back. I think I've seen you here before. What's going on? Hey to you.
Yeah. Pete, I'm not gonna. I don't want to get back and forth with you, but I'm going to disagree with what you're saying here. I don't think the Jets did Bridgewater dirty at all. As a matter of fact, I think they did him a very good service.
They
gave him the opportunity to choose where he wanted to go. They realized that he wasn't going to make the roster. Like I said, everyone at One Jets Drive had nothing but glowing praise about Teddy Bridgewater, and vice versa. Teddy Bridgewater had nothing bad to say about his short time here with the Jets. They did right by him.
Yeah, and again, you see, this is what makes me think that he's young, Pete, and not like an adult. And we might be dealing with like a 15 or 16-year-old. The Jets are so bad they chose Sam Darnold. No, it wasn't the Jets. It was the general manager, right? It was the person who was running the team at that time, and that's what you have to understand. Every time you change coaches, you change GMs, you change the structure of your organization, it has nothing to do with the organization before it. So that's my whole point with Joe Douglas, and that's why I say things are different, and that's why everything feels so different. If you look at the Jets, we are nothing like the team we were for 2017, 2018, 2019. It is not the last 3 years or 2 years have been nothing like that because it's completely different people running the organization. That's the whole point. They're not the Jets. They're individual people. They're different people that have nothing to do with the people that came before them. Joe Douglas has nothing to do with anybody else that came before him. So we need to and that's every team. When a team clears house and brings in new people, the only time you have a problem is when you have an owner that doesn't know what they're doing and keeps bringing in the wrong people. Now, Woody Johnson, I know the Johnsons weren't popular for a while, but look, maybe it took 10 years or 8 years, however you want to say it, but they finally got it right. They finally got it right. They gave Joe Douglas the team and they stepped out of the way. And I think that's one of the differences. I think that's why it's a different feeling and why the Jets are having the off seasons that they're having, because the Johnsons got out of the way. Now we have a real football guy running the organization. So it's looking good, if you ask me. So, and if if you don't think it's looking good from the outside, I wish that he was willing to discuss it, because what don't you like about what the Jets have done in the last 2 years if you're a Miami fan? Because Grandizer knows, what haven't they done that's good? All right, they took their shot at quarterback. They took what more than 50% of the teams in the NFL, probably 70% would have taken Zach Wilson with the second pick if they had the second pick and needed the quarterback. So that wasn't a bad choice. That was a choice most teams would have made, right? So you have that. You have Elijah Moore looked very good for a rookie before he got hurt. He was starting to look very good. Garrett Wilson, there's not many teams in the NFL or fans base that wouldn't have loved to grab a guy like that in the draft. No one disagrees that Corey Davis is at least the solid number 2 type receiver. I mean, what's the tight ends that the Jets offer? What is not right about what they're doing? If you could just tell me and explain to me, in a real way, what's not right about what they're doing. But I don't see how anybody that's knowledgeable about football could look at what the Jets are doing. I'm not guaranteeing wins, but how could you look at what the Jets are doing and saying that it's not a positive thing? If you look at the Jets roster 18 months ago, look it up right now. Go Jets 2020 roster. And now look at the roster today. If you don't know that their roster is so much better and so revamped, you just don't know about football. You agree, Dom?
I agree wholeheartedly. I'm all in and take my. I'm not even talking about my homer cap. I'll take that off. I think true NFL fans understand that what the Jets have built over the past, or what they're building. I'm not going to say built because we haven't won anything yet, but what they're building is they're doing it the right way, and they're putting pieces in place that we have longed for a long time, for a very, very long time. So I agree. This is a different team. I'm not going to claim that we're, playoff bound or we're Super Bowl bound right now, in 2022, but it's different. The mentality is different. The feel, the vibe around the Jets right now and what we have in Florham Park and the product that we're going to put on the field in 2022 is completely different than years past. I believe that. I really, really believe that.
Mm. Yeah. And John Salty Nalty, good to see you here, by the way. And yes, I want to do. That was another thing. I was thinking the same thing, Salty. Did Bridgewater wrong? We gave him the first shot. He came back from what people thought was a career-ending leg injury. We were the first team to bring him back and give him the chance. And he impressed New Orleans. He impressed them with the preseason he had. And that's why they pulled him over there. Every opportunity that he's getting, what he got at Denver, this all stemmed from the Jets. They were the first team to believe in this guy and bring him into camp. And the only reason they didn't hold on to him was to be fair to him, because they had Sam Darnold and Bridgewater wanted to play.
Yeah. I'm the last guy that's gonna argue with anybody or get into a pissing contest. But I disagree with that statement. The Jets did not do Teddy Bridgewater dirty at all, and I bet you he's the first to say the same. Maybe he didn't like he thought he wanted to play. I think you hit it right on the head. He thought he had his chance. He had his chance, and now was the chance that he could start. It wasn't going to happen on the Jets. They were in year 3 of a Sam Darnold, the guy that they spent a lot of high capital to trade up for. You know what I mean? And they weren't ready to give up on Sam then. Hindsight being 2020, was it the right move? Who knows? Could Teddy Bridgewater have brought the Jets to 8-9 wins instead of the 3 or 4 or 5 that Sam did? Who knows? Doesn't matter. It's moot at this point.
Yep.
So.
And then Grandizer says it again. Always an example of other fans. Clutch is also a Kansas City Chief fan, is a great example of fans who can come here and talk football with us, and have good conversation and be honest and not be blindfolded because it's a division rival, but to be able to look at the moves the team is making and appreciate them. And I'm like that as a fan. Like when Buffalo signed Von Miller, I said, "Oh man, they just got themselves a good player." When Miami started adding on to their offensive line, I was like, "Wow, they're smart. They're doing the right thing. That's smart. That's what they needed to do. They need to build up that offensive line. Like getting Bridgewater as a backup quarterback. I'm not putting him down for those things. These were smart, good moves by the Dolphins. I'm perplexed that they fired the coach because I really had a lot of respect for that coach." And I really thought that he was going to be something to worry about. It's not like they replaced him with the chump. I'm not laughing at, the guy they replaced him with. I'm actually think it's going to be interesting to see the Jets and the Dolphins over the next few years building the same exact offense. So we'll see how that looks.
Yeah. I'll touch on Grandizer, what he's saying here, and his, communication back and forth with the Bills content creator. I don't know if it was the Jets overblown. Like, listen, it depends on which side of the street you fall on. Like, here's the things I heard, in the negative about the Jets draft. A, you never trade up, never spend any capital. Don't trade up for a running back. It's unnecessary, Well, you know what? And I agree with that to an extent. But I don't think I'll give up that 5th rounder to move up and secure the guy that you have first on your board, that was 18th overall on their board, 10 times out of 10, we didn't give up a future first to move up to take a running back. We gave up a 5th rounder, you gave up a dart throw. Jermaine Johnson, you had to pick him, of course, why did he slide all the way? I don't know why he slid all the way, but again, he was somebody that was ranked very high. As a matter of fact, Jeremy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but to my understanding, he was going to be the pick at number 10 if Garrett Wilson wasn't there. So the Jets obviously thought very highly of him. Garrett Wilson, the pick that they took 10, they had honed in on. He was the wide receiver that they wanted, and if he was off the board, they weren't going to take a wide receiver right there. You know what I mean? Now, people's views on this wide receiver class differs. Jeremy knows, and you guys here in the chat know, that I was a big advocate. Garrett Wilson wasn't my number 1 receiver on the board. I'm not saying I didn't like him. I thought he was a great player. I just happened to be a Drake London guy. So I don't know if or where you can really poke the holes in the Jets draft being bad or overblown. Was Jeremy Rucker to reach in the 3rd round? I don't think so. That's where he graded.
101. We got him after 100.
He was that's arguably. That's where he graded out. He was a 3rd round. He was a 3rd round talent.
Yeah.
Arguably
the number 1 tight end in the draft.
Arguably,
depending on what you wanted, because he definitely was. If you base it on all around, like blocking and receiving, I would strongly make the argument he was number 1 for all around. So Aunt Gina's in the house. What's up, Aunt Gina? We love you. And do you know that I met with your nephew in Richmond and we had barbecue together? It was a lot of fun. I was taller than he thought, and that makes me now because of that, I go around like a wise guy telling Green Bean he's lucky I didn't smack him around and beat him up a little bit. I like to irk him. I'll say, "Hey, Green Bean, you're shorter than I thought. If we ever get into a tango with people and everything, just stand behind me and I'll protect you." He loves it when you do that.
And Grandad has a great point. Great point. The key that the thing that they did this year, which I thought was great to see. In the past, Joe Douglas has always moved down. Like, Bill Belichick is famous for just moving down and accumulating more capital, so on and so forth. This is the year that they said, you know what, we have a lot of capital. Let's be aggressive. Let's go get our guys, right? Let's use some of this capital and go get our guys, right? They honed in on the guys that they wanted and they secured them, whether it was the trade back up for Jermaine Johnson and filled that need, whether it was to trade up a couple spots to secure, arguably the best running back in the class, fill, not reaching, fill in guys that were high on their board, taking the best player available, as well as guys that filled needs on our team. I mean, I thought it was a great draft.
What's up, 10 Star? Good to see you. I saw you before in Jets Today. I'm glad you stopped by here too. Bounces around. Got a real Jets fan here. He bounces
10
around.
Star's the man.
Yeah, he's around, man. Let's see. Man, I got all messed up here. Okay, here we go. Jeremy, I'm so happy you guys met up. In VA, he is the best nephew. I can't wait to meet you and other fans on here. That's great. He's the best nephew. He is, and he's funny too. I don't know if people know this, but are you going to be part of that? Are you going to get to see Green Bean perform?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to Gina?
I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. Are you going to get to see him perform?
I don't think so. I just don't think our schedules are going to work together. I was working really hard. Like he Green Bean just gave me his dates. We were trying to coordinate. I was, through work, I have a lot of pretty good connections, and I was going to have Green Bean come in. There's a minor league team, the Yankees AA team, the Somerset Patriots, which is real close to where we grew up, where I live. And I was going to have him come out and throw the first pitch and so on and so forth. But the schedules don't work. The team's away when he's going to be up here, and I'm going to be doing some traveling for work. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get up with him. Yeah.
To me, it's a really big deal. Like that he's going to get up and do stand up. He hasn't done that in a long time.
Yeah, no.
It's a big deal. It's like, wow, because maybe he's going to get the itch back for it and get back more into it. I don't know. We'll see. I know he was really good. He was really, really good. So people don't understand. He was like in the right circuit. He was with all the great people and playing in the right places, and he was really, really good. I watched some of his bits, and it was really like top shelf stuff. So it's exciting. Sure. I wish I could be there, man. I'm a little bummed that I'm going to miss it.
Yeah.
So,
are you coming out for the game? Are you coming out for the opener, Jeremy?
No, I can't. I wish I could.
Right?
I had my 2 weeks, it's going to be hard for me. It's like I could go if they what would be realistic? Like I realistically could go to Seattle and see that game. Like there's a chance something like that could happen because that's a quick flight. I can get back and be back at work on Monday, so that that could happen. But flying across the country and everything and doing all that,
not for a Sunday game. Yeah, I get it.
It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. But I'm waiting for when the Jets play like
the NFC West. Actually, they play the NFC West, don't they?
Well, when the Jets play like when the Jets play Vegas. That'll be something because it's easy to go down to Vegas and get a room, and like just for
San Fran if they play in San Fran.
Oh well, that's just an automatic. Just when they play the Niners again in San Francisco, I'm there for that one because that's like a 2-hour drive, and I got friends that live in San Jose, so I got places to stay. Like there's no question I'm going to that game when they do eventually play. But Vegas is easy. It's a cheap Southwest flight. Like I could just jump down. It's like literally 40 minutes in the air on a Southwest flight to Vegas. So that's easy. Seattle, I got my niece lives in Kirkland. So again, the only problem with the Seattle game is I have absolutely no one that's going that I know. Like I would literally go alone. So it's a little weird. Yeah, maybe my brother would want to go because he's in Portland or right outside Portland in Vancouver, Washington.
Mhm.
And you know how we're turning Lee back into a Jet fan. So maybe he'd want to go.
Nice.
Like there's a possibility. So maybe somehow that ends up happening.
Nice.
That'd be absolutely crazy. I don't think Seattle fans are that aggressive. I don't think I'll get beat up or anything. Let's see. I would go to a game with my jersey on to any stadium with Iowa Jets fan. Just because if anybody messes with me, I'll say he's from Iowa. Because I just think guys from Iowa, man, that they'll just keep coming at you. 10 guys could be punching him, hitting him, kicking him. He'll just keep coming. He's from Iowa. That's the way they're built. So I started a GoFundMe to try to make the home opener.
He did. I saw it. He did. I saw it. It's legit. There's a GoFundMe out there to get Reed out to the home opener.
But why does it bother Nick Shine? Like I don't get that part. Mainly to bother Nick Shine. I need to know more into that. Like, why would that bother him? But that's funny. Like I like that he's doing it to bother Nick Shine. That makes me happy. Oh, Jeff, I would too, man. Everyone's going to be at that opener, and it's like absolutely such a bummer. Look. One day, if I get to like 3,000 to 5,000 subs, and I get up to that level of being a YouTube content provider for the Jets, I'm gonna have to meet the other guys, right? Like, but right now, I'm still small enough to duck out of it, and I won't be missed. I'm just a small guy right now. I got a small little shop here. So
with a Falcons banner in the back.
Right. Well, that's the London game. That's the London game.
Yeah.
But no, but for real. I mean, it might get to a point where you gotta go, like so but I'll see. But I'm definitely gonna see Jet games again. I mean, let's see. There's also if they play the Chargers.
Yeah.
And that's like there might be as many Jet fans as Charger fans. I mean, I heard the Chargers still don't get fans in that stadium. So I think they drive up from San Diego.
Yeah. I heard it's like $70 to park your car there.
Really?
Yeah. I had a buddy who just moved to LA and he went there. I don't know if it was a Rams game. I don't know if it was a football game. It might have been a concert. And he said, yeah, it was like $70 to park my car. And I was like, you got to be kidding me.
It was a Twitter joke. He said it was a butthole thing to do, so I had to do it. What with me? Do you have any money? Like, you should share the link, dude. Put it in the comments. Like, we should push that out there. Let's get Green Bean to push it out there. Let's push out the link for this and see if we can really get Iowa Jets fan to the opener. That'd be great. If I could live vicariously through Iowa. Jeremy has left the building. Elvis has left the building. What's that from? Anyway, so we talked about Zach. We talked about Denzel Mims. There was something else I wanted to share about that I was excited about that's going on in camp. I actually set it up before. Let me make sure the volume is on. I want to make sure everybody could hear it if I do it. So I'm going to play a little bit of this. I'm going to have to hit pause a couple of times because I don't want to get shut down for playing it. Because I know that when you have the volume up, it becomes a problem. So this is Corey Davis answering a question. And give me the thumbs up if you can hear it, Dom, when I play it.
Sure.
It's asking a question about Garrett Wilson. So let's do a share screen, share system audio, share. Maybe that bigger. Okay.
What have you seen from Garrett Wilson? Dude special. Dude real special. He got his crazy routes, crazy hands, and he's really focused. He's a guy that's always locked in and asking questions.
So right away, he said he was special. They asked him, what do you think of Garrett Wilson? You heard, he said, I think he's special.
Mhm.
Now, I want to remind everybody, I had to hit pause anyway, so I'm going to hit pause. If a guy's not playing and he's kind of pedestrian and he's not looking great or impressing anybody, you're probably going to just say he's learning. He's a young guy, he's learning, good athlete. We're excited about him learning. But that's not what Corey Davis is saying. So let's keep listening.
Questions, trying to get better. But man, I've seen really crazy glimpses of him just going up, snatching the ball, running crazy routes. His separation is unbelievable.
So there's Corey Davis talking about a rookie who's in his first few weeks as a professional, saying he runs crazy routes and is amazing at creating separation.
Man, I'm glad we got that dude.
I'm glad we got that dude. So, look, I'm not going to overread into it. I expect him to say good things about a teammate.
Yeah.
But I don't think that is what you say about just somebody who's just doing okay. Or, right? I mean, I think that sounds to me the kind of thing, I don't know, maybe I'm looking, I'm hopeful, maybe I'm being a homer, but to me, for him to sit there and say he's running crazy routes and he's unbelievable at creating separation and being very specific, is a really good sign.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And those are the traits, that made him the number 10 overall pick in the draft, right? I mean, this is the stuff that we knew about him, at the stuff that I watched on Garrett Wilson all through his years, at Ohio State and whatnot. I never thought he was elite in his route running. As a matter of fact, he's, he probably could use some fine tuning in regards to his footwork, but his athleticism, what he does, the reach that he creates, the catch radius that he creates, his hands, his agility, his speed. I mean, that's the stuff that, it's hard by watching him on film. It's hard not to agree with what Corey Davis is saying, right? Yeah. That he is special. And I think what we forget also is that he's going to line up against Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed and Bryce Hall every day, right? We talk about the reps and we talk about practice and stuff like that. Like, he's going to be facing very, very good defensive players that are only going to get him better, right? They talk about that term, what is it? Iron sharpens iron, right? He's only going to get better, day in, day out with reps against these guys.
I mean, what could be better than, and that's part of when you start becoming a better team, is it makes your rookies better, because now they're going against guys that are realistic to real games. Like 3 years ago, you come onto the Jets, you're not really seeing what the NFL is all about, but he's going to be going against, and he already is. I heard some things. He's going against Sauce. He's going against Reed. He's going against Bryce Hall. I mean, when the actual games come, and when he plays in the slot, he's going against Michael Carter the second. I mean, like, so when the actual games come, it's not like he's going to be playing at a level against the level of competition he hasn't seen. He's going to be spending all these weeks of practice and reps against these quality guys. So he's getting a taste for what it really is going to be like.
Sure.
So,
listen, sky's the limit, man. Sky's the limit on some of these guys. We have we have legitimate weapons, we have legitimate weapons this year. And I don't know how you're not excited, how you can't be excited about that if you're a Jets fan.
Yeah. It's absolutely insane to me to not be excited about it. It's and that's the whole point. Like, and that was the whole point of this stream and the theme of this stream. We were hearing some negative things. Zach is inconsistent, this and that. And my whole point was silence the noise. Don't let anybody, I'm telling all my fellow Jet fans, don't let anybody bring you down or worry you or take away the enjoyment of what should be an enjoying happy time as a Jets fan. We have a lot of young, exciting players.
Yep.
This is the time as a fan that you have to enjoy. It really is. It really is a time to really enjoy, because when they build this and they start winning and it's turning into W's, it's so great to have been excited about it from the start. You know, like not to be someone that just gets dragged on later and says, "Oh, they are good," but to like really feel and live the process, you know, and experience the process of building a real team. It's exciting, and I feel it happening. But anyway, let's get ready to go. Before we do, I want to. Why don't you tell them again, because we keep getting new people in and people out, so you can't overplug it. I want people to know where they could read your stuff. So tell them one more time, Dom, where they can read your stuff and what you're going to be doing.
You can always find me on Twitter. I'm at DC_NY Jets. I'm very active throughout the day, all the time. Been promoted, I guess you can say, to staff writer for greenbeanjetsfan.com. I have an article coming out every week until the season goes. We have some ideas on some regular weekly videos that are going to be going out through Green Bean's website as well. I'm working on a draft guide for the 2023 class. I spent a lot of time this weekend watching spring games, you know, trying to get myself familiar with some of these names. So I will be putting that out to the masses. And, you know, for all the guys that are interested, it's not for profit or anything like that. Anyone that just wants to get some in-depth stuff, because that's just it's kind of my niche, and that's kind of, you know, where I fall in line with, you know, kind of what I like to do with all this content stuff is I find myself really kind of gravitating towards the players and the projections and the stats and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm going for it this year, and I'm putting together a draft guide. So hopefully you'll see that come out, you know, sometime in January. So yeah, find me, read my articles, feel free to blast them out on your social media. It's all for fun, man, and I love to do it. And I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Jeremy, for having me on the show, you know, every week.
Oh, of course, man. The best decision I ever made, man. I picked the best people. I like you and Adam, you know, Y2K and Nick. I picked the best people, man. You guys helped make this channel what it is, so I appreciate it. This was a great show because of you. I loved tonight. I thought tonight was a great show. People are saying that they love the stream in the chat, and I'm just thinking, well, that was Dom, man. You did an just awesome job as always, offering great analysis. That's why, and your articles are great and very informative. Everybody should be checking it out. I'm excited to see all the things you're going to be doing, not on YouTube, but on those sites. I know you got a big future in this. So hopefully it's going to turn into something that's revenue generating as well, because it's always nice when you could make, you know, generate money and revenue on doing something you love. And I know you love this. So it's good stuff. And I want to thank everybody in the chat. You guys are the best. And I mean that. You guys are absolutely amazing.
Guys, if you haven't done so, smash that like button, you know, let all your friends know about Jeremy and his site, and, you know, kind of get his name out there, because he's the truth.
I appreciate that. I appreciate all of you. It's been great. It was a great vacation. It was great to get back in the saddle. Missed you guys, and I'm so glad to be back. And I will see you back on Wednesday, but definitely look for my videos. I'll be coming out with at least one between now and Wednesday. So I'm working hard on them, guys. I'm trying to put some good video content out there as well. So take care, everyone. Have a great, awesome week, and I'll see you on Wednesday. So let's leave you with something a little bit more energetic. Let's leave you with something with some energy. As we get closer to the season, expect me and my brother to be doing a lot more of this. Oh, yeah. Go. Amazing. That's my boy. That's my boy.
He breaks away from a sack and completes the pass for first down.
Oh, Kittle just may have made the most amazing catch.
He fights for the first down and gets out of bounds, too.
It's no good. Overtime. Oh, what a catch. How do you drop that? What are you, Jamal Adams? Touchdown.
This is a touchdown all the way.
He reached over the pylon. San Francisco beats Cincinnati.